You know, there's a moment in life when you realize the chaos of relationships just isn't worth the effort anymore. John, a 62-year-old man from Texas, has had his fair share of love, heartbreak, and everything in between. He's been through the ups and downs, the fights, the drama, and the exhaustion that comes with trying to make relationships work. But now, John's goal is simple: peace. Not the kind of peace you get from escaping your problems, but the kind of peace that comes from embracing solitude and letting go of the need for constant emotional roller coasters. John has learned that after decades of living through the emotional turmoil of relationships, the one thing that truly matters to him now is stability. He doesn't need another partner to complete him. He needs calm. He needs space. He needs to control his own environment without the noise of drama or expectation. For him, the idea of a romantic relationship no longer holds the same appeal. It's not about being anti-love or bitter about the past. It's about understanding that real happiness doesn't have to come from another person. It can come from within, from having your own peace of mind, your own routines, your own life without the constant strain of trying to make someone else happy. As we dive deeper into John's story, you'll see why older men, like him, choose peace over the chaos of modern relationships. They've been there, done that, and what they crave most is the simple joy of living life on their own terms. As John spends his days in quiet reflection, walking his dog through the peaceful Texas neighborhoods, he can't help but think about how much has changed. When he was younger, he was always looking for that next relationship, believing that love would bring fulfillment, that a shared life would fill the emptiness. But now it's different. He doesn't need the constant validation or approval from a partner. After decades of marriage and dating, John has learned the hard way that true contentment doesn't come from someone else. It comes from within. The idea of trying to please someone else, of putting in the emotional labor required to sustain a relationship, feels exhausting. What used to seem like a pursuit of happiness now feels like a never-ending cycle of compromise, disappointment, and unmet expectations. The freedom John now enjoys is unlike anything he ever imagined. There's no pressure to conform to anyone else's desires or to meet their emotional needs. The silence he once feared, the solitude he once avoided, has become his sanctuary. The love he had once craved from a partner is now replaced with the unconditional loyalty of his dog, who waits for him every day with nothing but joy and acceptance. It's a simple exchange, one without manipulation or hidden agendas. For John, this is enough. He's finally realized that peace, not another relationship, is what he has been searching for all along. John's perspective on relationships has shifted so much over the years. He used to believe that love was a key part of life's fulfillment, something to strive for, something that defined success. But now, he's come to realize that love isn't everything. It's not the answer to all of life's questions. John knows now that the most important thing is emotional peace. Peace he has fought for and earned. As the years go by, he no longer feels the need to be emotionally available for anyone but himself. He's been through enough heartache, seen enough betrayals, and weathered enough emotional storms to understand that the constant give and take of romantic relationships is not the only way to feel fulfilled. What he needs now is not someone to share his life with, but someone, or rather, something, that provides him with the stability he's been craving for so long. That's where his dog comes in. The loyalty of his dog, the simplicity of their connection, is a comfort John never imagined he would value so deeply. It's unconditional, unwavering, and simple. No drama, no expectations, just loyalty, day in and day out. It's a reminder that peace, once elusive, is now within his grasp. John is at a point in life where he no longer feels the need to prove anything to anyone. He's found peace in the quiet, in the routine, and in the freedom from the chaos of relationships. It's not that he has given up on love. It's that he has finally realized there's more to life than love. There's peace. John's mornings have become a rhythm of peace. He wakes up early, takes a long walk with his dog, and enjoys the quiet that comes with the stillness of the early hours. There's no one to answer to, no expectations hanging over him. For so many years, he lived with the constant pressure of maintaining a relationship, trying to balance his needs with someone else's, always feeling like he was walking a tightrope. But now, those days are behind him. He's discovered a level of self-sufficiency that he never imagined would feel so fulfilling. John no longer feels the need to explain himself or justify his choices. The weight of others' opinions no longer hangs over him like a cloud. It's not that he's turned his back on relationships entirely. It's that he's learned what truly matters. Peace, in its purest form, is now his greatest priority. He realizes that he doesn't need a partner to define his happiness. The world has changed around him, and so has he. Where once he craved the excitement of a romantic connection, he now craves the stability that comes with living life on his own terms. The simple things, the companionship of his dog, a cup of coffee on the porch, and the knowledge that he's in control of his own life, bring him more joy than he ever thought possible. John has found something he didn't even know he was looking for: the quiet freedom of being content with just himself. John spends his weekends differently now. There's no longer the hustle of preparing for another family gathering or navigating the complex dynamics of a romantic partner's expectations. Instead, he takes his dog to the park, enjoys a quiet afternoon with a book, or even works on small projects around the house that bring him satisfaction. It's a life he never thought he would choose, yet it feels incredibly rewarding. He's realized that the energy he once poured into trying to keep a relationship alive can now be channeled into things that bring him true fulfillment. John's not afraid of being alone anymore. In fact, he embraces it. The solitude that once seemed daunting is now a source of strength. There's no drama, no tension, no constant need to adjust to another person's needs. His days are filled with the freedom to do as he pleases, without guilt or pressure. The trust and loyalty he has with his dog, a bond built on pure companionship, has become the most reliable source of comfort in his life. He's no longer searching for something outside of himself to complete him. He has found his own sense of wholeness. And that, to him, is the greatest peace he's ever known. John's life is simpler now, but it's also richer. He's not missing anything. In fact, he's gained everything he truly needs: peace, control, and a sense of self that's no longer tied to the expectations of others. John's perspective on relationships has become clearer than ever. He realizes now that relationships, especially romantic ones, often come with a cost he's no longer willing to pay. For most of his life, he believed that a relationship would bring fulfillment, that it was a necessary part of life's journey. But now, after years of experience and reflection, he understands that peace is the ultimate luxury. The emotional work required to sustain a relationship, the compromises, and the constant negotiation of needs no longer feel worth the effort. His dog, on the other hand, brings him exactly what he needs: unconditional love, no strings attached. The simplicity of that connection is something John cherishes deeply. He no longer feels the need to prove his worth or make sacrifices for someone else's happiness. His happiness is his own responsibility, and that is something he has come to value more than anything. He's not alone, though. His dog is his constant companion, providing him with the loyalty and companionship he once sought from a partner. What John has learned over time is that he doesn't need a person to feel complete. What he needs is stability, peace, and a sense of control over his own life. And he's finally found that, in the quiet moments, in the time he spends alone, and in the bond he shares with his dog. This is the life he's chosen, and it's the one he wouldn't trade for anything. As the years pass, John finds himself reflecting on the moments that led him to this place in his life. He no longer feels the pressure to seek validation from others or to conform to the expectations society places on relationships. His friends and family, who once urged him to find a partner, now see him as someone who has found peace in his own company. It's not that John doesn't value connection. He does. But he's learned that true connection comes from within. He's come to realize that many of the things he once thought were necessary, companionship, love, intimacy, are not as essential as they seemed. What matters most to him now is the sense of control over his own life. He's in charge of his own happiness, and for the first time, he feels free. There's a quiet strength in that realization. John no longer feels the need to keep up with the expectations of others. He's not chasing love or seeking approval. He's simply living his life on his own terms, enjoying the things that bring him joy without feeling the weight of obligation. And in this simplicity, John has found a deeper, more lasting satisfaction than he ever experienced in his previous relationships. It's the peace of mind that comes with knowing that you are enough, just as you are, without needing anyone else to complete you. This is the life he has chosen, and it's the one he'll continue to live, content and at peace. John has come to understand that the simplicity of his life is its greatest gift. For so long, he was caught up in the belief that he needed to be part of a couple to feel whole. But now, he realizes that being content with himself is more powerful than any relationship could offer. As he watches younger men struggle with the pressures of dating, relationships, and societal expectations, he feels a sense of calm that they seem to lack. John knows that what they seek, excitement, companionship, validation, is fleeting. What he has found, after all these years, is a sense of quiet contentment that only comes from living life without the constant demands of someone else. His dog, loyal and steady, has become the perfect companion, providing him with the unconditional love he no longer needs to question. John no longer needs to prove anything to anyone. His worth is not measured by his relationship status or his ability to conform to the expectations of others. For the first time in his life, he is truly free. Free to enjoy his days as they come, free to spend his time on the things that matter most to him, and free from the emotional chaos that once consumed him. He no longer seeks validation from a partner because he has found it within himself. The realization that he is enough on his own has brought him a peace he never thought possible. And as John looks out over the quiet landscape of his life, he knows he is exactly where he is meant to be. As John settles into his evening routine, he reflects on the journey that has led him to this point. His life is now defined by a deep sense of fulfillment that comes not from others, but from within himself. He's realized that peace is not something you find by chasing it outside of you, but by creating it inside your own mind. His home, once a place filled with tension and expectations, has transformed into a sanctuary, a place where he can finally breathe easy. There's no more stress from maintaining a relationship, no more second-guessing, no more emotional ups and downs. It's just him, his dog, and the quiet comfort of knowing he has nothing to prove. John knows that he's no longer searching for anything. His life is complete as it is. The relationships he had in the past taught him valuable lessons, but it's this life of solitude that has brought him the most peace. He's no longer swayed by society's expectations or the opinions of others. He doesn't need to be in a relationship to feel whole. He's found wholeness in himself. As the years continue to pass, John realizes that what he has now is exactly what he needs. The peace he has cultivated in his life is worth more than any relationship could have ever been. And as he walks through the quiet night, he knows that he is exactly where he is meant to be, content with his life, just as it is.